this is Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise Deluxe class Cliffjumper. Now this is the second version of Cliffjumper that we've actually gotten. The first being the first edition version, which honestly, from everything that I've seen, is the far superior version of Cliffjumper. This is a more scaled down, well, we'll get into all that later. The packaging, as you see, includes a battle hammer. Okay. Watch Transformers on the Hub Network. Really kind of cool packaging. It is actually a really nice picture of Cliffjumper right there. I do find it slightly ironic, though, that he's showing off his arm cannon, yet this figure actually doesn't have that. And again, we'll get into that later on. Coming around here to the side, Cliffjumper. This side right here. And again, this is definitely something that's really kind of strange, because his courage is an 8. I definitely think his courage should be like a 9 or a 10. I don't know where they get that from. That really seems kind of odd. Flip around here on the back. Really kind of cool picture. Here, Transformers Prime, the Autobots. There he is in his robot mode, his muscle car mode. And it says that few Autobots are as fierce as Cliffjumper. The Decepticons long ago learned to fear their loudmouthed warrior for his incredible skill with which he wields his battle hammer. Hopefully we see that at some point in time in the cartoon, because I don't ever remember seeing him wielding a battle hammer. But okay, whatever. Come around here, join us online. You can find him on Facebook, Transformers.com, and of course YouTube. But make sure you ask permission before going online. Yeah, because, you know, that's bad for kids to do nowadays. But overall, not too terribly bad looking. The packaging on these is definitely nice. I don't think it's as good as the first edition figures, but it is definitely nice and really does have kind of a Transformers Prime feel to it. So let's get Cliffjumper open out of this packaging and see how cool he might actually be. Alright guys, so here we have Cliffjumper open up and out of its packaging. And you know what? It's really not that bad of a vehicle mode. I mean, okay, this looks kind of goofy sticking out there, but we're kind of used to that with all that mech tech crap. So he's got a little peg right there. He's also got a little peg right here on the side, which, again, still looks really kind of derpy. I really don't particularly care for this. I really do prefer the first edition version where his hands transform into his blasters. That's a whole lot more cartoon accurate. This, we've just never seen this before, so we don't know entirely if this is an accurate accessory for him to have or really not. Now in terms of his vehicle mode, it's really not all that terribly bad. There are some bits that I really do actually like over the first edition, but when it comes down to it, the first edition really is the best. One of the biggest things that you're going to notice right away is the color. Well, at least that's what I could notice. You can see that this is a deeper red, which I do prefer. This is a little bit lighter. Hopefully that's coming across on camera very well, or I should say fairly well. The other thing that I prefer on the new RiD version is I really do prefer the back section. I like the black and the silver that's included on there. I mean, this kind of looks dull. But when it comes down to it, that's really the only positives that I like over the first edition itself. Now, I really do like the actual blue transparent windows here. The clear translucent ones, really, I don't care for too much. I mean, you see so much junk inside there. I mean, it really is messy and ugly. At least with this, the darker plastic really kind of covers up everything that's going on the inside. So that's definitely a bonus in my opinion. I love the fact that he actually has an Autobot logo on here right there. None of these new RiD figures seem to have any faction logos on them. At present, I've gotten this guy and I've gotten Soundwave, and neither one of those have the faction logo. Other than that, I mean, there's not really too much different. I do prefer the dark blue, what look like a translucent headlights, very similar to the plastic here on the windshield. This is just painted baby blue. It's like leftover Allspark blue. And then you can kind of see that the horn on here is a little bit darker of a color than this one, and that, in my opinion, is better looking. Now, when it comes to the transformation, it's really not all that terrible. First, what you want to do, come around here to the back, kind of loosen this section up here just like that, and then I like taking this, well, once I get it all the way separated, then rotate that up, then I pull these legs down and get these out of the way first. Pull them all the way down, then you can take this section here kind of, and this is kind of a pain in the butt. You have to pop a little tab that you can kind of see right inside there. It tabs underneath this section, so you kind of have to pull it and then get it to lift up. So angle that all the way up just like so, fold these bits down just like so, rotate this around, rotate that down, spin that around, this is rotating, and then take the entire torso bit and that rotates around right like so. And there you have his legs, and now his legs actually do look pretty nice. I'll get into some more of the differences between this one and the first edition later on, but I really do like the way that his legs look. Come around here to the front, and then you have to take this section, and this kind of sucks. You have to kind of tug on this horn bit here to get this to lift up, and this is a soft plastic, so that really kind of makes me nervous that it's going to break at some point. Fold this all the way back, and then this is kind of goofy. Again, this is a very soft kind of plastic, but there's a little tab right here. That little gray tab bit actually tabs into the underside right there, but it really doesn't. It just kind of sits there, and that's how it is. Then come around here, separate this, fold these out just like so, pull all this stuff out. This is going to angle down, and as you do that, that's going to activate some gears here, which lifts his head, which is kind of cool. I kind of dig that. Rotate this around, just like so. Rotate that around, and then right up here, spin this around like that, and kind of lift that up. You can fold that down, rotate down and around, lift that up. Then take these little fists, fold these out, fold these down and around, and then take this window, fold that in, and then these just kind of slot together just like so. It doesn't really hold very well. I mean, it's not a very secure fit, and it doesn't pop into place or anything like that, so that definitely kind of sucks. Do that on this side as well. Rotate that around. That actually stays a little bit more firm than the other side does. Slide that down, position that, and getting his arms position is kind of goofy. The arms, in my opinion, really are the weakest part of this entire figure. It's not a terrible figure, believe it or not. I really don't think it's that horrible of a figure, and that whole section here is kind of flopping around. It's definitely smaller than what we're used to when compared to the first edition, but it's really not that bad of a figure. And when it comes to his robot mode, Cliffjumper is definitely not as good as his first edition counterpart. The first thing that you're going to notice is that at the head, the RiD version is much shorter than the first edition version. Also, right away you're going to notice that there's a lot more black on him, whereas all the black on him is this kind of gray plastic on the RiD version. Now, the biggest complaint that people have had is mostly in the arms. That's what I've kind of seen on the interwebs. And honestly, yeah, they're probably the weakest part on him. One thing that I do find kind of interesting is that the doors and kind of the front fender form the arms on this guy, whereas the doors in the front fender form the legs on this guy. I mean, as you can see, you take this and then kind of getting this out of the way. Come on, get out of the way, you stupid hand. I don't like you, hand. Stupid hand. I mean, so here's his arm for the most part, and then you take this and then you fold it down, and then you got the same thing pretty much going on with his legs. Now that works because, I mean, these are longer bits. Putting it down for the legs is actually a really good idea because it makes his legs a little bit longer, and as you can see, the legs are longer on this guy, so that works. When you put it on his arms, it ends up having an effect of the gorilla arm syndrome. I mean, that definitely is more arm than you would really want. Plus, I mean, this kind of up here in his elbow joint area really kind of looks flimsy. I really don't like that very much. Now, that being said, his legs are a lot nicer, but his arms are a lot nicer. Again, that's because the doors in the front fender are making up the arms on this guy, and the doors in the fenders are making the legs on this one. So that's going to give him better arms, and this one better legs. Now, I do kind of like the chest bit a little bit more here. This piece right here, I think, sits a little bit too low. The light section right here, I do kind of like the way that looks, and that's definitely one of those false hood pieces, I suppose, because I mean, there's his headlights right there, and obviously his other headlights are right there. So I mean, that, you know, it is what it is. Overall, it's not a bad looking figure, but when we have the first edition to compare him to, it really does kind of make this guy just fall short. One thing that I do find kind of interesting is you got the wheels right here, which you can plainly see. You got the wheels right there that you can plainly see. If you look on the part of his thigh, he's got molded, well, red wheels right there, and you see the hubcap and everything there. That's really kind of weird. In terms of his hammer, here it is. You can have him hold on it like that, and, you know, Me, Cliffjumper, me got a hammer. Okay. Or you can also take it, and you can rotate it around, and now he's got a gun, which, okay, he never used a gun. His hands transformed into guns, and that, again, that's something else with the first edition version, which is far superior, and these just don't stay tabbed down very well. I mean, that kind of sucks. It's definitely a more inferior figure, but again, most of it is because we got spoiled with the first edition. This isn't a terrible figure, and I think most people would be happy with it if we didn't get the first edition first. In terms of his articulation, his head's kind of on this ball joint, so you left and right, and rotates around here, so it's actually a pretty nicely articulated head, whichever you really want to do. The arms up here are on ball joints, but they're kind of on this angle, so I mean it's kind of going up like this on an angle, so you can't really get a normal range of motion, I guess. I mean, it still works, but you're doing some twisting as you're lifting up. He bends here at the elbow. He also rotates at the upper part of the bicep. That's part of the transformation. So you have that. The hands here are on a ball joint, so you can pretty much do whatever you really want with that. But again, the arm panels here really don't stay down very well. They're very kind of loose, and that really kind of sucks. Rotates here at the waist. Ball joint here at the hip, bends at one point here at the knee. Yep, just one point at the knee. And then the feet are actually really nice articulated. They move forward, back, and then there's a ball joint right here, so you can get some good wide poses and have him wielding his hammer, I guess. I mean, again, I don't particularly know why he comes with a hammer, but he comes with a hammer, and I mean, that's kind of cool. One other thing that he does have is he does still have light piping, although with it, it's not all that good. It's a lot more clear. I mean, it still has some blue in it that you can kind of see, but I really think that the first edition's light piping is better colored. Now to transform it back, come around here to the arms, kind of rotate these out, and these fists are kind of, like I said, pains in the butts. Rotate that out, and then just fold these down, and those kind of peg into place. Fold out the windshield, fold that around, fold that in, fold out the windshield, just like so. And then you have to rotate these around, and then these are going to angle out, something like that, and then accordion that downward. And then this is always kind of weird for me. I have to figure this out. Angle that down like so, angle that down like so. There's two joints right there, and then you fold these down just like that. Keep that folded out. Separate this back bit, fold these down, and then the hands, make sure that the hands slot right inside here, just like so. So slot that in, bring these together, just like that. Take this section, fold this down, fold out the little horn doodad. That pegs into place, and there you have the front of his car. Come around here to this, lift that, rotate the torso all the way around, rotate this, that, and that, like so. Then these are going to rotate down, kind of fold that down, just like that. That you got one side of the car, rotate that, rotate this down, get down there. Come on now. There we go. Just like that. Kind of, there we go. Alright, that's gonna tab there on the side. Take this, fold this down, kind of push this underneath the other roof section here, just like so. Fold that back, kind of separate these, bring that down, and peg that together. Kind of give everything a nice little squeeze. And here you have Cliffjumper back in his vehicle mode. Now when it comes down to it, this really is not the best version of Cliffjumper that we've gotten from Transformers Prime. But it is a nice substitution, especially if you're not able to get the first edition of Cliffjumper. Right now the prices for that thing are going crazy, so if you're not able to afford that, this is definitely a nice substitution. In terms of the vehicle mode, it's actually a decent representation. There's only a few things I really think that the first edition does better when it comes to the RiD version, but it's still a nice representation, and it definitely looks like the actual cartoon. The transformation is really actually kind of fun. It's got a lot of same elements actually that the first edition does. They're just kind of reversed. And then when it comes to the robot mode, he does have a very short and stocky look that you would kind of expect from Cliffjumper. Far and away the ideal version to get would be the first edition. But as I said, unfortunately, the prices for that thing are pretty insane right now. So if you can't afford to get that one, I would definitely consider picking this guy up. I'm actually a lot more surprised with this figure than I thought I would be, and I actually enjoy him a little bit more than I thought I would. So like I said, depending on if you guys have the availability of the first edition Cliffjumper or not, I would consider picking up this guy. So until next time, this has been Optibotimus. I want to thank you for tuning in. I'll talk to you later.
Fingers of truth, robots who fight.